RealConvo with Alan Mednick and Miranda Khan starts now.
Hey, welcome to Recovery Unplugged. Today was one of the best days of my life because in recovery, I saw God here. I saw a bunch of kids that are going to take this program seriously because of Richie Supa.
Love that.
Amazing. That is amazing. That's what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh my goodness.
You love that, don't you?
I'm going to be saying amazing all the time, but you're right.
It is.
You know I love puns.
So those are two incredible superstars. You don't get any bigger than that.
Huge superstars.
You got Richie Supa with Steven Tyler.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
So
and you're going to love it too.
We are, and we actually have one of them here today.
I can't wait.
I know. And
I'm
he
so
was
excited.
Instrumental, I'm getting into that again, instrumental in starting and founding a organization called Recovery Unplugged.
Yeah, it's like nothing you've ever heard of. This is so innovative. It's just amazing.
There we go. It's going to keep on coming up through the whole show. And everybody will understand why.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's using music to help people who deal with addiction. Yeah. And you're just going to love this. I love the whole concept about it.
Yeah, and it really helps a lot of people. Yeah. They're really giving back. And why don't we bring him in right now?
Let's do it.
So, Richie Supa?
Yes.
How you doing today?
Hi.
Yeah, look at that Grammy Award winner, singer, songwriter, and now one of the founding members of Recovery Unplugged. Is there anything you don't do?
Yeah. There's a few things I don't do.
Well, we're so honored to have you here on RealConvo.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So Richie, obviously you have, what have you been, 40 years in music?
I've been doing music since my dad bought me my first guitar at 12 years old. That was my first addiction. And I knew that was my path. But I've been a professional songwriter since 1975.
That was a good year.
Yeah.
That was a very good year.
Yeah, the 70s. We talked about that.
He loves the 70s. Because of you, actually. That's why.
Yeah. So you've written some, amazing songs.
Amazing songs.
But you've written for, Bon Jovi. You've written for Tom Jones. You've written for some superstars.
Pink, right?
Pink. I produced and wrote for Pink. Tom Jones. Willie Nelson. Bon Jovi. Wow. Ozzy, I wrote Ozzy's single on Ozzy Cometh. It goes on and on and on. It really.
And obviously Aerosmith.
Clearly.
And obviously Aerosmith. I wrote and played and toured with them. Helped Steven out. He's like family. He's like my brother from another mother.
Where's that picture? Let's see that picture. I know you were showing it. I gotta see it. I love that. So, how did you get involved with Recovery Unplugged? It's just such an amazing story.
Okay. Let me just say that when I wrote Amazing in '93, and we recorded it, and it became a #1 rock song for Aerosmith, people who were in recovery knew the song was about addiction. And I got emails about how it affected them. One guy said I was going to put a needle in my arm, and Amazing came on the radio, and I listened to it, and I called my sponsor instead. And it planted a seed. What I did is I started writing songs about addiction. I don't know if you guys are aware of the album I put out, a CD called Enemy. It's all about addiction, all the songs. And I started taking my guitar and going to detoxes and playing a one-man show and playing these songs about addiction. And I called it Recovery Unplugged. And what I started seeing was tears and emotions coming out of the clients who were sitting and listening. And I realized, that a song written about addiction, if it's written correctly and truthfully, can take an addict back to his using days, let him feel it without ever picking up the drug, and then bringing him back safely. And it was an amazing process that I witnessed, and I kept doing it. I got addicted to helping people that in that respect, and I kept playing. And then I knew Paul Pellinger, and he had just opened up a place or taken over a place called Harmony. And his vision was to use music as a catalyst, as the primary, nucleus, the center of the program. And I sat down and I told him what I was doing, and he goes, "Oh my God, we need to. Will you come work here?" Make a long story short, I wanted to do it more than anything in the world. And I said to him, I would love to change the name of the treatment center to Recovery Unplugged, because I think Harmony is a little bit too vanilla. And Recovery Unplugged is working so good for me. And he absolutely got it immediately. And Recovery Unplugged was born. And the journey began.
Oh,
it's an incredible
amazing
name.
Story.
Incredible. I do have a question for you. When you wrote Amazing, what stage were you in? Were you, obviously, I'm assuming that you knew that you had an addiction at that time. Where were you in the stages?
Okay, I got clean in 1988, and I was clean. I probably 88. I had 5 years clean. I was at a convention of Narcotics Anonymous, and there was about 2,000 addicts in this big auditorium. And what they did was they used to throw this beach ball up in the air. People would bat it around, and when somebody blew the horn on stage, whoever had the ball in their hand would have to share. And this girl caught the ball, and she said, "All my life I kept the right ones out and let the wrong ones in." And I went, I
love that. That's one of his favorite lines.
That is. I was showing that to Miranda. There we go.
It's fine.
Miranda, right before the show.
He's speechless. He can't even talk now because he just got chills hearing that line. There were some other ones that you really loved, too, that you actually highlighted.
Well, I do want to ask you, with the blink of an eye, you finally see the light. It just says it all.
Yes. So I called Steven Tyler, who was in LA. I was about to go out to LA and work with on a new album. And I told him what the girl said. And I said, yeah, the girl said, I kept the right ones out, let the wrong ones in. He said, yeah, I had an angel of mercy to see me through all my sin. And I said, that's amazing. And I said, yeah, and that's the title. So I got on the plane.
I love it.
True story. And I got on the plane and I wrote probably 65% of the lyric, and I had to sit on my hands literally, so I wouldn't finish it. And Steven finished it with me, and in the blink of an eye, it was easy for us, man, because we were living it. And
let me tell you something.
It's a God moment.
Yeah, that song is a song that just gives you chills. Every time you hear it, it just goes right through you, and the chills come out. The words there are so poignant. I do have a question for you. You have some incredible phrases. Obviously, you're a word guy.
He's a songwriter.
Yeah. You can't keep what you have unless you give it away. I love that. Can you explain that?
Okay. In addiction, you have to share your experience, strength, and hope with other addicts who are beginning their journey, and what it does, it rewards you spiritually and emotionally when you share how you did it, so that another addict can follow in your footsteps. So it's something that we say. You can't keep what you have unless you give it away. It makes you grateful, and a grateful addict will never use. And so the whole key in recovery is the connectivity of one addict, the therapeutic value of one addict helping another. So we give to receive. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But, Richie, I can't even imagine what this journey's been like for you, battling with addiction issues yourself, then going from that and now writing songs about addiction, and then hearing people tell you that your song basically saved his or her life. That has to feel so profound.
I have never won a songwriting award, including the Grammy that we did for Pink, that made me feel more grateful than when a parent hugs me and says, "Thank you for giving me my child back. Thank you, thank you, thank you." I mean, I got God bumps right now. Just like it's moments like that you are priceless. And the fact that God gave me a gift, to the fact that I became an addict, and God, the God of my understanding, got me clean and allowed me to continue with my gift to write songs about addiction, you can't put a price on it. It's a very powerful gift, and like I said, to save somebody's life is the greatest gift for any songwriter.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about more how he's saving lives and how Recovery Unplugged is saving lives.
Yeah, Richie, we want you to stick around. We still have a lot more to talk about. We want to talk more about Recovery Unplugged. Again, how you went from Harmony to Recovery Unplugged, a little bit more about that particular title, how this music, and I don't want to say music therapy, but it's kind of like music therapy, how it works, because it's so different. And we also want to bring in a couple of other guests.
Yep.
We're going to have Dr. Barry joining us coming up after the break, so you don't want to go anywhere. It's going to be real fun.
That was incredible. And
You wanted to say amazing. I know
do
you
want to
did.
say amazing, but what Richie was just saying there about giving back and how it helps you with treatment, we talk about that all the time.
That's the whole reason
And
why
that's
we're
why
doing
we're doing this show.
Right. The whole reason we're doing RealConvo, we're doing this program, is because we've suffered loss. You know, I lost my sister to suicide. You
my
lost
daughter, my niece,
to suicide.
my son struggles with anxiety and depression. So again, we want to give back because we know when we speak, people listen because we have lived experience. Richie has lived experience, and we also have somebody else here that has lived experience that's giving back right now.
Yes.
And let's welcome him in.
Dr. Barry Reiman, good to see you.
Great to be here.
How's it going?
Yeah.
So, Dr.
Can't
Barry,
complain.
you are the VP of Business Development at Recovery Unplugged.
That is correct.
Okay. And so what exactly do you do there? What is your...
It's just a fancy title for doing nothing. No, I'm kidding.
We should give that to Alan. I'm just
I
kidding.
work a lot on the front end with incoming clients, working with families, doing interventions. I meet with human resource departments at some large corporations, a lot of public speaking, basically trying to get the word out about Recovery Unplugged to the nation.
Yeah.
And you have your own experience for what people are going through.
Yes, yeah. So I'm in long-term recovery. I have been sober now a little over 24 years.
Love that.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Love it.
And, I'll tell you, the first year took the longest. The last 23 went by in a snap.
Just like that.
Yeah, if you think about it, when you're counting days, like Miranda, if I told you to sit on the side of your bed, okay, and stare at your clock for 10 straight minutes, you cannot take your eyes off the clock. How long will that 10 minutes take?
Forever.
Okay? But if you're in the shower, how quick is 10 minutes? Coming from a woman's
that.
perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a really quick shower.
Okay.
You think
That's a quick shower.
it takes
Exactly.
just 10 minutes? No.
That's a quick shower. But if we're sitting on the side of the bed looking at a clock for 10 minutes straight, it's the longest 10 minutes. So the way I equate it is for people who are early in recovery, we're encouraged to count days and count weeks, and we get chips, at the 30-day mark and at the 60-day mark.
Right.
And that first year literally takes the longest.
And I know that you basically had the buffet, right? You didn't discriminate. You were you took anything and every kind of drug, and
Yes.
you actually, though, got treatment not through Recovery Unplugged, but Recovery Unplugged, in comparison to a lot of treatment facilities, which is why you wanted to be a part of it, has an extreme success rate.
Yeah, so Recovery Unplugged was not born back in June of 1996, when I entered treatment. The treatment facility, and I'm grateful for it, but was a very humdrum, how are you feeling? How did that make you feel? What's your goal for the day? And don't use. And that was the extent of really what treatment was 20 plus years ago. Recovery Unplugged is light years ahead of its time. It's just so engaging. It is, in my opinion, one of the premier treatment facilities in the country, and not just aesthetically wise. We're not the Betty Ford or Passages Malibu that cost $90,000 to $120,000 a month, right? But the way we go about and do treatment
Is very
the
different.
techniques we use, it is a very, very, very engaging facility.
So
Richie, I want to bring Richie also into the conversation again. So when you hear that, hear Dr. Berry talking about how different it is, and staring at a clock for like 10 minutes and doing that. I can't even imagine doing that. How innovative it is. How does that make you feel? And I don't mean that like, how does it make you feel, but just curious.
Well, I mean, Dr. Barry's, what he's saying is very valid. Music has been used in hospitals for years for pain management, for Alzheimer's. No one has ever applied it to addiction. And the power of music is very simple. If a song about addiction is written correctly and truthfully, like I said before, and you play it to an addict who's suffering, it's a very non-threatening experience. And addicts come in with their hands across their chest, closed out. They're angry. They're ashamed. All the negative emotions they walk in with. And the last thing they want to hear is somebody pointing their finger at them and saying, "Let me tell you what you're doing to your life." That's not what we do. I sit down and I do a group called Super Tuesday, and lyric analysis, and I play the song, and I basically say to them, when you hear me sing a lyric in this song that you can relate to, raise your hand. And as I sing the song, all the hands in the semicircle go up in the air. And that is a visual experience that other addicts who are in the semicircle see and go, "Oh my God, that affected him too. Oh my God, she did that too. Oh my God." And because I sing songs about not taking showers and dirty rooms and all the unmanageability and it's non-threatening because it's musical, it's melodic, and the addicts respond to it. It's absolutely amazing. That's the therapeutic value of what music can do. Music, a good song, can remove the dirt of addiction for that particular day.
Clearly.
You know why that's so important? Because we always talk about how everybody feels like they're alone. And when you hear other people saying it, yeah, it might sound, okay, now maybe I'm not alone, whatever. But when you hear it in music, people are going to pay so much more attention to the words. Because it's music, it makes people feel good. And
Right.
you're going to listen to it, and then they really feel like they're not alone. Because, again, what he just said. I do want to, there's another saying that you have, which I love, is the first, and I'm not going to, if you could just make sure I get it right, but the first thing you hear is your mama's heartbeat, which is you talk about music.
Yes, absolutely. It is so true. It's rhythm. It's a rhythm. And, music is in us from the first breath we take. And, before we're born, as we're an embryo. And so it's, you know what? Music has been around for centuries. It's not going anywhere. It's magical. It's the music of the soul. It's a language of the soul. It really is. I call it like
I
the
love
voice
that,
of
language
angels.
of the soul.
The language
Yeah.
of the soul.
So, and Dr. Berry, going back to you, so just like Richie battled addiction, he starts writing songs. He sees that it's helping people. He joins with Harmony. They change it to Recovery Unplugged. You kind of had the same thing. You were battling addiction. You got clean, and then you decided to go out and help people and give back.
Mm-hmm. You actually said you were what, 145 pounds?
I was. I'm 6'3", and I was 140 pounds soaking wet.
Wow.
Having grand mal seizures, in and out of hospitals. I've known Richie now for 24 years, right? And Richie remembers when I first came into the rooms, I was a shell of a human being.
And you also said that something, like you gave yourself a time frame. You were talking about...
Yeah, so I made a decision early on because my story is a little unique. They say like, oh, you really have to want this to get it, and if you don't want it, don't worry about it because you're not going to get it. And I call BS, right? We're not going to curse because we're on TV,
Good.
But I
Thank
call
you.
BS, right? My story was, I'm going to give this thing 90 straight days, and after 90 days, if I still want to sabotage, if my relationships haven't improved, if my life hasn't improved, if that monkey is still on my back and I still have that overwhelming desire to self-destruct, on the 91st day, drugs will always be there. Mm-hmm. And something clicked between day 1 and day 90, right? And I don't know if it was day 62 or day 48 or whatever day it was.
But it clicked.
But something clicked, and I made it to that 90-day mark, and I looked in the mirror, and I looked better.
You look amazing. Amazing.
I felt better.
You're still in my line.
My relationships had improved. I was starting to become a productive member of society, and my addict brain says, wow, if I feel this good at 90 days, I wonder how I'll feel at 6 months. Right? Because it was still about feeling good, right? Getting into recovery is not about a punishment. It's not about let's make your life worse by giving up drugs. It's let's make your life better. So at 6 months, I got there, and then I said, you bet your butt I'm going to make it to that year. And my perceptions changed. My willingness was through the roof because I was being rewarded. Mm-hmm. So the reward of staying clean started to outweigh the reward of going back out and sabotaging.
And you got a doctorate.
And that's the message I love about this. Not only did you do that, you went through it, you survived, and you became extremely productive.
Well, I got
You're
help.
giving back.
I got helped, and it felt so good to get helped. And then, as the old saying in the 12-step fellowship, you can't keep what you have unless you give it away, right? I get more out of helping others than I do out of them helping me. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. That's, again, what we talk about.
So I figured I would become the terminal student, right, and not have to get a real job for a long time. And I just kept going to school, and I wound up doing my doctorate in psychology, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love, the message I want to give is that it doesn't matter what age you are. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has, a purpose in this life to give back. I know people that, 37 years of their life, they were drug addicts, gangs, in jail, the whole thing, and then all of a sudden something changed in them where now they're doing the same thing you're doing and giving back.
Yep.
And they've been doing it for like 7-8 years now. So that 7-8 years is more valuable than the struggles they went through to get them to that point.
Yeah, and I do want to, when we come back from the break, I want to go into how this works because it's so different, Recovery Unplugged, what you guys do. I know, Richie, you were talking about, singing the songs and people raising up their arms. I want to go a little more into how
when we get back, I'm going to combat something you said earlier about how this is music therapy because what we do really isn't music therapy at all. But I'll tell you, it's such a common
misconception. It's okay, you can correct me. I stand corrected. I knew when I said it, you were going to correct me on that.
It's a common misconception, okay?
All right, I'm going to let you...
I thought it.
Okay. I'm going to let you clarify that when we come back. We'll be right back. You're watching RealConvo.
Kept the right ones out, let the wrong ones in. Had an angel of mercy see me through all my sin. There were times in my life when I was going insane, trying to walk through the pain. And it's amazing, with a blink of an eye, you finally see the light. It's amazing when the moment arrives that you know you'll be alright. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm saying a prayer for the desperate hearts tonight.
Woohoo! Love that.
I'm
Again,
telling you, chills. I'm like filled with chills right now.
I can tell. You can't even. Are you gonna be able to talk?
Oh, you probably can see it on top
Yeah,
of my head too. So, yeah.
exactly. Again, that was Richie Supa, Grammy Award-winning songwriter and singer there, singing his hit "Amazing." We're talking about Recovery Unplugged. Thank you, Richie, for doing that. That was amazing. And we also want to welcome back in Dr. Barry Reiman. Good to have you. And also joining us now is Jordan Guthrie, who also went through the treatment at Recovery Unplugged, which Dr. Barry is going to correct me and say it's not treatment or therapy, right?
No, it definitely is treatment. It's just not music therapy.
Music therapy. That's okay. Set the record straight. I'll stand corrected.
Set the record straight.
Set
I
the
like
record
that.
straight. You like that? I wasn't even trying to do a pun on that.
That's amazing.
Oh my
You know,
goodness.
you're taking all my lines here.
I
so-
am.
Okay.
That's a compliment,
All right,
though,
all right.
right? When
Oh, yeah.
people, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
okay.
So, explain. I want to actually go into what it is Recovery Unplugged does.
Sure. So
Yeah.
I was naive, like a lot of people who hear Recovery Unplugged. They see sound stages, recording studios, and they think automatically music therapy, right? And I used to own another treatment facility, and Recovery Unplugged was actually one of my competitors many years ago. And I used to think...
And you said if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, well, eventually. Yeah. But I used to think, okay, yeah, go ahead and go there, bang the drums, sing the kumbaya, and get better because music is going to save a crackhead, right? And I was naive, right, or misinformed, thinking that it was just about the music. What I learned is that music is used as a catalyst to connect with clients and break down barriers. So it has nothing to do with the kumbaya. It's about understanding the walls that can be broken down once music is infused into the treatment process.
Yeah, but I understand that, and that's unbelievable. Doesn't music also have an effect on the brain?
100%. So it affects what we call the nucleus accumbens, if you want to get scientific.
I'll let you say that.
Okay.
How's that?
It's the nucleus accumbens, and that is where it is the epicenter of the brain where if somebody was abusing a substance, those areas of the brain light up. And it's the same areas of the brain when a song comes on that you relate to or it brings you back to a memory in your life where you had extreme joy, those same areas of the brain light up with the dopamine and the serotonin.
Richie, did you know that when you were doing this?
I knew that music triggered dopamine, which is one of the feel good, chemicals in the brain, and so and I also knew that music, it changes your heart rate, it changes your lessens anxiety. It does a plethora of things to the brain. I didn't know the science behind it, but I did know that it changes the brain chemistry upon listening.
You don't want to touch that word either. I don't blame you. I don't touch it either. Don't put that in the song.
No.
A little advice there. Jordan, you actually went through the program.
Correct.
And explain to us how it differs from other treatment facilities.
So Recovery Unplugged differs from other treatment centers because they use music, and other treatment centers will tell you not to play music or not to bring your instrument, and Recovery Unplugged encourages you to do so. And so it's really cool, and you'll be in group and people will bring out guitars and play songs, and it feels so much more, it feels
It's just that good. It
is.
feels so much. But
right.
So I've actually, and we'll get into a little bit about what you guys do there that is special too, but the people there, from what I understand, say that people love them there, that they've gotten a family atmosphere there that they've never gotten from anybody else, and they know they're going to get through it because of the love that, I guess a lot has to do with the staff, but also because of the music and just
They
going
just
through-
love Dr. Barrett.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's really what it is.
But
yeah.
is that what you see too when
Yeah.
you went there?
Absolutely.
So you battled drug addiction when you were pretty young. You're still
Yes.
pretty young, and you've been in and out. And it was like we were talking a little bit around the commercial break, but just to kind of shorten it up for time, you had dealt with some mental health issues, which for a lot of people, what do? They self-medicate, right? And that's what you were doing. And you also had a loved family member who died by suicide, just like Alan and I, your mother. You were just 13 years old. That's a really rough age.
Yeah, but you didn't turn to drugs.
No, I didn't, but I think a lot of people do.
Yes, definitely.
A lot of people do, you know. And I mean, I've lost my father, I lost my sister, but I was older, 13, junior high. That's a tough,
Yeah.
tough age. What was it about this facility, though? You're talking about the music. Give us an example, or Dr. Berry, feel free to chime in. Some of the exercises, I guess, that you do. Can you kind of explain how this works?
Yeah. So the therapist will give us an assignment, and you have the option to do the assignment or perform the assignment. So for me, I like to write music. I'm not super talented when it comes to vocals, but I really enjoy writing. So
And that's because of Richie.
of course. But, you know, I've always written music since I was a young girl, but because of addiction, I stopped writing. So when I got there and I was encouraged to do that, and I was encouraged to get on stage and, you know, sing my heart out and really, because, you know, when words fail, music speaks, and a lot of the times
That's a great line.
when you're coming off of drugs, you can't explain how you're feeling. The words fail. And so for music to be there and be something that you can lean on and lean into was so
Oh, I love that.
so amazing.
And there's
you
no
can tell
judgment
you're a
at all.
songwriter right there. We were like liking all those words. Richie, I think she's got a good shot.
But what was even cooler is that everybody in the audience afterwards, which are your peers and your fellow, you know, patients, they give you their advice, almost like The Voice.
So she's describing a group that we do at Recovery Unplugged called Open Mic. And I agree with Jordan. It's one of the most powerful groups. It is the most powerful group we do at Recovery Unplugged, and is one of the most powerful groups I've ever witnessed in my history. And as she mentioned, every client who comes in the door gets assigned a primary clinician, right? So they have a caseload of 6 to 8 clients at a time, and they're going to drill down on, so for Jordan, in her case, right, it's not about doing an assignment on what it feels like to stub your toe when you first wake up in the morning.
Hate
For
that when
her,
that happens.
It's going to be an assignment on, you know, what it felt like for her mother to commit suicide when she was 13 years old in front of her, right? It's going to be some serious stuff, traumatic, childhood of origin issues, and they're challenged to put this assignment into some type of lyrical verse. You know, if they don't have a creative bone in their body, because only about 10% of our clients are actually musically inclined.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
The
Because a
other-
lot of people
yeah.
might be saying, hey, I
No.
can't sing, I'm not a songwriter. You
That's
don't,
okay.
you know.
Just the other 90%. I mean, have you met somebody that doesn't at least like music? You know what I mean? Right. I mean, think about it. It could be just be a certain genre, but most people like music. Anyway, so
right.
they're given
Especially
this assignment
Richie's
to do. And one by one, they get on stage and perform their assignment. We had one client who wanted to be a sports broadcaster, so he made his assignment into a sports broadcast, right?
There was-
just creative. We have spoken poetry, spoken word, or we just have, but there's something about getting on a stage with the lights on you, in front of you, with a mic in front of you, that automatically puts you into a very vulnerable position. And not only are you on stage with the lights on you, vulnerable, but you're looking out into the crowd of your peers, and then in the back is like a lineup of clinicians, right? It's like
Yeah.
so life row instead of death row, right? Because they help save your life. And
Yeah.
so they're back there, and you're up there, and you're sharing your experience, and then the community, like Jordan said, is then giving you feedback on what they thought. And what happens is, for the person who's so shy, that is not good with public speaking, they may be the 18th person to go that day, but they got the hope from the first 17 people who went before them. And that person who is now 18th, next week might be 5th, and the following week may be up there first. So it instills confidence. it builds camaraderie within the community, and the community becomes like this. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like, how much money you make, what your drug of choice was.
Non-judgmental.
You're in a treatment center because you're sick and you're there to get better.
Jordan, I just see you nodding your head. And
Yeah.
we've only got a couple of minutes before we have to go to break, but I just see you nodding your head. Is that what it did for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I just remember sitting there and feeling so loved and feeling so lucky. That was the feeling I really felt, was I'm so lucky to be sitting here, and I would think of all my friends back home who didn't have the opportunity to go somewhere so amazing, and you know,
See? It's catchy.
It is. It's hard to avoid that. But I just felt so lucky and so blessed to be able to be in the presence of these amazing people and be able to share my soul. I still remember calling my dad and being like, yeah, this guy, he's like with Aerosmith. I don't really know who he is, but I think he's gonna let me get on stage with him and sing with him. And my dad's like, oh yeah, that's super cool, Jordan. And like, we had something else to talk about that wasn't, hey dad, I need $20 to whatever lie I decided to make up.
And it was such an incredible experience that now you want to give back.
Yes.
You're
now
going
you're
to be a
working
songwriter.
Well, no.
Yeah? Okay. We're going to, when we come back from the break, I want to get Richie's reaction to that. You're watching Real Convo. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Real Convo. You know, just amazing, Jordan, to hear your story. I love that.
Amazing.
And I can't,
All right, I
know.
gotta ask one thing.
I gotta
Does
ask.
Richie get royalties on every time we say amazing?
Ooh, good question. Richie, how does that make you feel hearing Jordan say what she just said right before we went to commercial break?
It's unbelievable. You know, I just have to say that when I'm there and doing my groups and stuff like that, my presence really inspires a lot of the clients. I can't help being who I am and what I've done and accomplished, and a lot of the clients know about Aerosmith and me and listen to my songs on the radio for years. It's like, so when they finally meet me in a setting and I say, I'm a dope fiend from New York, I'm a recovering addict. You know, who I am is Richie Supa, the songwriter rock star. What I am is different from who I am. What I am is a recovering addict. And I let them see that. I'm part of the family. You know, I say I was always a black sheep. When I found recovery, I found the herd. You know,
I love that line.
So,
I knew you were
That was
going
one of my favorites. Yeah.
I let Jordan in as an example. I was very approachable because I'm part of the family, and yes, I am who I am. And oh, can I hug you? Can I get an autograph? Absolutely. And it's all part of the medicine, you know. So I'm blessed to be able to do that, and I love when Jordan says that because it makes me feel good and accomplished, and the fact that I'm giving is working in Jordan's life. So that's a great thing.
That's another one of the lines is music is medicine, and that's what your motto is, right? At Recovery Unplugged?
Yep.
Yeah, music is medicine.
Yep.
And you do extremely well. We keep talking about how innovative it is, and it's not music therapy, but in comparison to other treatment facilities, how do you compare?
Great question, Miranda. You know, we had almost a 5-year longitudinal study done by Nova Southeastern University, which is a local university down here, and they have done weekly, monthly, yearly follow-ups on all of our alumni. Right now, we have a sober rate that is 4 times the national average.
Wow.
Okay, so that sounds wow,
It is
right? But
wow.
realistically, right, there's always room to improve, because realistically, the sober rate right now, the national average is only about 8 to 10%, right? So if you think about it, anybody who enters into a treatment center, they have about a 10% chance of staying clean long term at your run-of-the-mill average center. So us, we're at anywhere from 35 to 40%, right? 8 to 10.
And then you have an amazing, again, the word, dropout rate, or
Clients who leave AMA.
Right.
Okay, so, there's another term, AMA, right? Against medical advice. So what do you think the national average is for somebody who enters into a treatment facility and does not complete treatment? Industry average, what do you...
Industry
where
average?
would you put
Probably
a percentage?
like
Probably 40, 50%.
Close. 38 to 42% of clients who enter into a treatment facility do not complete their full regimen of treatment. We're at 7%. Okay? And why I think that's so astounding and why it's so important, as I'm sure you guys already know, and Jordan probably knows, not everybody comes into treatment because they're brimming with willingness and excited to start the process. Everybody has different circumstances. They might have come through a recommendation of an interventionist, through an intervention. They might have had an attorney. They might have had the judge, right? They may be involuntarily committed through a Marchman Act, which is a really good tool in Florida, by the way, right? But the people who come to us, as reluctant as they might be initially, stay.
Yeah.
And most people try to extend their stay. That's a
Jordan,
really
was that
good
the
sign.
case for you?
Yeah.
Because you were in for how long?
So I was in the program for about 3 months and eventually had to leave the halfway, but then I just got a job here, so I never
loved it so much. You're like, you know what? I'm going to join the club.
Actually, I hope you don't mind giving away a little bit of your secrets, and maybe Richie wants to, chime in on this. But I know you say when somebody's coming to the facility, you do something special.
Okay, all right. So I'm just going to let you guys in and the 90 million households that this is going to be streamed to.
Yeah.
If that's okay. Sorry.
If that's okay. Just a
So-
little secret.
All right, so a little secret. So any treatment center, any ethical treatment center, prior to accepting a client is going to do something called a pre-screening assessment. So they're going to get a great history on them. They're going to find out their medical issues, their mental health issues. They're going to find out their substance use issues, treatment history, if there's legal history, right? Any history of arrests, what were they arrested for? It's a pretty in-depth assessment, and then that assessment gets taken and sent over to the team of physicians. They review it, and it's decided what criteria they're going to meet for what level of care and treatment. What we do is we take it a little bit further in the assessment process, and we find out what their favorite genre of music is, who their favorite...
Jordan, what is your favorite genre of music?
I like 90s rock.
Okay, there you go.
So-
Just had to ask.
So let's say we're doing this. Jordan, your favorite genre of music is 90s rock, right? Who's one of your favorite artists from that 90s rock revolution?
Like Fiona Apple or Amy Winehouse.
Okay, and what's one song that you relate to the most?
Oh, there's so many, but I'll just say Criminal, Fiona Apple.
Okay, so
That was a great
Criminal,
song.
Fiona Apple. So we're doing Jordan's assessment, and we write all this down, right, and we notate it, okay? And then Jordan is now flying in from where?
Indiana.
Indiana.
I'm glad you brought that up because I just want to say real quickly, we're running out of time, but for people that are watching to know that you don't have to live in Florida, that you have facilities.
Well, we have facilities all
Elsewhere.
across the country.
Right.
It's honestly better to get out of your hometown, I think.
Yeah, bad influences, right?
Yes.
Let the bad ones in. Is that it?
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
Just
go back.
saying.
Okay, so she gets on an airplane and she's scared and she's nervous, and this is maybe her first time in treatment, and she flies into Fort Lauderdale, and our driver is at baggage claim waiting for her, right? In a nondescript, right? They're not like, hey, here comes Jordan. She's coming for treatment, you drug addict. So.
There's the druggie right there.
Yeah.
That doesn't work?
Yeah.
No, not so much.
We find Jordan, we get her in our transport vehicle, and as soon as she sits down, that song from Fiona Apple, Criminal, is playing for her. And you say what when you hear that song?
Oh my gosh.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
I love this song. And we're like,
Start
we
jamming
know.
out.
We
Well,
know.
You already feel like you're at home.
We listened for
You
the
already
first
feel
time.
comfortable.
Yes, somebody listened for the first time. Rapport is established, walls go down, and she's automatically establishing rapport with her driver.
Yeah, they made you feel special.
It starts at the front door. It's the attention to details. It's listening to the client. And that's just a small excerpt of our secret sauce.
I love that.
Yeah, and again, you go into the facility. I've been there, and I appreciate you letting me come in and take a tour. And everybody there is unbelievable. The people, the staff, And then you have a couple of things that you do that are special on a Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great group that's called Feel Good Friday, and it's every Friday from 1:45 until about 3 o'clock. And it's Richie and his band, and we have live musical performance groups every Friday where we're able to even invite some guests, that can kind of sit, they sign a release and, confidentiality release, and they sit towards the back of the room, but they can actually see the clients interacting with the live music.
Whose idea was that? Was that your idea, Richie?
Yes, it was.
I
Well,
love
that's
that.
brilliant.
I
It was
love
brilliant.
What does that feel like for you when you see those people come in?
I mean, it's amazing when not to coin that phrase, but yeah. I mean, I sing certain songs where they do dances. They create dances. We pass out little drums and tambourines, and we do rhythm things, and I get them involved. It's all about connectivity. It's about having all the clients connect with each other through the performance. It's not about me.
We live
Make
stream
it about
too.
them.
Yeah. Oh, you live stream it. I love
You
that.
even have celebrities that come in to perform there too.
Oh yeah, so we've had obviously Steven Tyler, we've had Flo Rida, we've had Ty Dolla $ign, we had
Nako.
the lead singer
Dion.
of Everclear, we've had Candlebox, we've had Dion from Dion and the Belmonts, who, by the way, is like a million years clean.
Love it.
We had Billy Joel's
So
band.
people that
with-
don't even have an addiction are just going to want to
look,
come by.
We got
there
we
you
had
go.
Billy Joel's band with Liberty DeVito. We've had just so many different performers that have come through just to support. Our newest facility we opened last October is in Nashville, and for our grand opening, we had Clay Cook from the Zach Brown Band come out and play.
And you have it there because that's something to do with music, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, so we're
It's
in
Nashville.
Listen, we're in Florida. We're in Austin, Texas, which is the live music capital
Love
of the country.
Austin, Texas.
We're in Music City, and we're in Northern Virginia, about 5 miles outside of DC. So all great areas with great music scenes. It's just a phenomenal place.
We are running out of time, but real quickly, I just want to go to each of you, if you could, for someone out there, a lot of people have been struggling, as you know, challenging times. If you could say one thing to someone who's watching, who's battling addiction, what would that be?
Call me.
Call. Okay.
Yeah, reach out. Be honest. Be willing.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to let everyone know that you can go to our website at RealConvo.com for more information about
I will.
Recovery Unplugged. And I'm going to let you, Richie, can you play us out a little bit with a little lyric? We're going to leave you with that.
Okay.
And I'll give my number while he's waiting.
What song would you like me to do? Should I do a little?
Amazing.
I
Yeah,
will
little
do-
thing. Do that.
Okay.
Whichever.
Kept the right ones out, let the wrong ones in. At an angel of mercy, see me through all my sin. There were times in my life when I was going insane, trying to walk through the pain. When I lost my grip and I hit the floor, yes, I thought I could leave, couldn't get out the door. I was so sick and tired of living a lie. I was wishing that I would die. But it's amazing, with the blink of an eye, you finally see the light. It's amazing when the moment arrives that you know you'll be alright. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm saying a prayer for the desperate hearts tonight.
Wow,
Love it.
that is unbelievable.